Hello everyone! Today is December 2nd, and today DJI has released yet another firmware update for the DJI Digital FPV system. Okay, so depending on how you're counting, this is either DJI's second or third release of their firmware updates for the Digital FPV system. And in this video, I just want to quickly go through all of the bullet points in the release notes and talk about each one and tell you all why I'm so excited about what they are. Okay, so if I go over here, this is where the December release notes are. And this is today, December 2nd, 2019. And this is the update, which brings you firmware version 01.00.02.00. And I think there's a lot of things in here that are going to be very exciting. It's what a lot of people have been really waiting for. So let's keep going here. What is new? They have added support for recording AV in analog video transmission. This is a big one that people have been waiting for. So when you plug in your ground station and you want to use these goggles with an older analog setup from your other drones, you can now use the built-in DVR and record it. I hear it's got full 60 frames per second, and it sounds like it's a really good analog video DVR. So maybe I'll make another video where I test that out and see how well it works. And number 2 here, they fixed an issue, which was a display issues appeared in AV analog video transmission. So I'm not exactly sure what they're saying here, but it sounds like they've improved the analog video input. But down here in this next one, they have optimized AV in analog video transmission to improve real-time performance. I believe that this is related to the problems people were seeing where sometimes they would have really high latency from the analog input, and sometimes you would have lower latency, but it was always a little bit slow. This one's probably going to need some more testing. I hear rumors that it does really improve the AV input so that it's just as good as any other goggles AV input now. So that'll be very exciting for people. That was a big reason people who have other analog drones didn't want to use these goggles, and now this really helps out a lot. All right, continuing on. This is the one that even more people have been waiting for. They have added the ability to customize the on-screen display information for the goggles, which supports 24 OSD items of information items in total. To display GPS information, enable the UART port, which is connected to the GPS and betaflight software. This one will probably require a whole video just on its own, and hopefully I'll get around to that really soon. But it sounds like they have added 24, well, a total now of 24 OSD items that can be displayed in your goggles. And you can modify where they are by using betaflight's arrangement. So you still need to have MSP set up. You still have to have everything connected just like you did before, but now you have much more options and you have much more control over how that's displayed in your goggles. This one is a huge, huge deal to a lot of people. Now, there's only 24 items here. There are a few items that some people will be very disappointed that they don't exist. I don't know what all of them are right at this time, but I do know that for people who use GPS and have an arrow that points to their starting or their home location, I've heard that that arrow is not functioning yet. It sounds like it's a more difficult feature to add and that they are working on it and they're planning to do it, but I wouldn't expect it anytime real soon. So if that's something you absolutely have to have, you might want to wait a little bit longer. But if you're the kind of person who likes MAH displayed or lots of those other OSD options, they should be there now. All right, let's see. They've added the ability to adjust the frame rate and bit rate according to distance and channel bandwidth when the transmission distance is more than 1 kilometer. I don't know what this is. I haven't heard anything about this one other than what it says here. So if you're flying farther than 1 kilometer away from you, you can now have the ability to adjust the frame rate and bit rate. So maybe it allows you to have a slower frame rate but higher video quality, or maybe it lets you have a lower video quality and higher frame rate, and you get to choose how that works. I guess I'm going to have to try this one out and see how it goes. All right, the next one here, they've added support to connect the remote controller via USB cable to PC to play the simulator. The simulator software needs to support USB HID input. This one's great. So no longer do you have to go buy a $10 USB to PPM dongle. You can theoretically, I haven't tried this yet, but you can just plug in a USB cable straight to your PC, just like you can any other radio, and use it to fly flight simulators. I think I'm going to have to give this a shot and see if I can make a new video. So my previous video on how to do that with the USB adapter is now out of date, and I'm going to have to make a new one. So that's really great. That'll simplify things. And the PPM input was kind of not really buggy, but kind of jumpy, not very specific, not digital. So this should make using this using the radio to connect to a simulator work much, much better. All right. Whoa. After activating the goggles, it will enter channel 1 by default. Pretty sure in the past, when you activated your goggles, and it would be on channel 8, and channel 8 is sort of the public channel, and it's acts a little bit different than the other channel. So now it's going to flip people over to channel 1 after they've activated their goggles. So I think that helps solve some minor issues people were having. They've optimized the UI menu of pid'tuning. I didn't really think that the pid'tuning menu was that confusing and need of optimization, but sounds like they made it easier to use, which is great. They have optimized the micro SD card error. SD card full appears when the micro SD card is full during recording. I'm not sure what the error said in the past, but now when your SD card is full, it'll say SD card is full. So that's nice. And finally, they have fixed an issue with the playback speed being slow when playing 120 frames per second video on the goggles. I've never tried to do that, but that's great. And then just some quick notes at the bottom, making sure you restart the air unit goggles and controller once the update is complete. Make sure you've got the firmware, the same version on all of your devices, because that's important for everything to communicate properly. And if an update fails, restart the device and try again. Also, make sure you're using the correct DJI Assistant. The DJI apparently has a whole bunch of different assistants, and you need to use the right one for the FPV series. And you should restart the air unit after setting the protocol between the air unit and flight controller. All right, there you have it. That is the December 2nd firmware update. I don't know if this is a pattern, but the last update was November 1st, and now here we are, December 2nd. It's like almost exactly 1 month later. I don't know if we can expect something on the first Monday in January or not, but if they keep up this pace of new firmware updates every month, that would be amazing. So anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you later.